Welcome to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. Quick, actionable tips to master personal finance and real estate investing. In just 5 minutes a day, we'll help you build wealth and achieve financial freedom. Hey, Prime investors, Martin Maxwell here, and welcome back to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. This is episode 67. All right, so far in our journey exploring overseas real estate, we've looked at the lifestyle and residency plays in Europe. Today, we're shifting gears and heading closer to home into a region that offers some of the most explosive rental yields you'll find anywhere in the world, Latin America. Specifically, we're talking about Mexico and Colombia. These are markets where you hear incredible numbers thrown around, rental yields of 8%, 10%, even 14%. But as we discussed in our first look at buying property overseas, higher returns almost always come with higher complexity. This isn't for the faint of heart. This is for the adventurous investor who is willing to do the work. So today we're going to get into the weeds on the high yield, high headache world of real estate in Mexico and Colombia. Let's start with Mexico. The appeal is obvious. It's close, it's affordable, and in the right spots, it's a cash flow machine. The Riviera Maya, think Tulum, Playa del Carmen, Cancun, is the epicenter for tourism-driven investment. The demand for vacation rentals is immense, fueled by millions of tourists every year. But here's the first big headache you have to understand, and it's a legal one. If you want to buy property within the restricted zone, that's 50 kilometers from the coast or 100 kilometers from a border, you have to use something called a Fideicomiso. Now, don't let the name intimidate you. A Fideicomiso is simply a bank trust. A Mexican bank holds the legal title to the property, but you are the beneficiary of that trust. You have all the rights of an owner. You can use it, rent it, sell it, and pass it down to your heirs. It's a secure and very common system that's been in place for decades. I was reading through an expat forum, and an investor who bought in Tulum put it perfectly. He said, "The Fideicomiso feels weird at first, but it's a well-oiled machine. The real challenge was finding a builder who actually finished on time and on budget." That's a dose of reality right there. So how do you navigate this? Here's the starter kit for Mexico with more detail. First, get comfortable with the Fideicomiso. It's a 50-year trust that's perpetually renewable, so it's a long-term solution. But it does come with costs. Expect a setup fee of a few $1,000s and small annual maintenance fees to the bank, usually around $500 to $700. Second, assemble your team. You'll need a great local real estate agent, but more importantly, an independent lawyer and a notario publico. Now, a notario in Mexico is very different from a notary in the U.S. They are highly respected, government-appointed attorneys who act as a neutral party to ensure the entire transaction is legal and that all taxes are paid. They are absolutely essential to the process, and their involvement is a key legal safeguard. Third, the purchase process. It usually starts with a written offer and a promissory agreement, or contrato de promesa. A key tip from experienced investors: your deposit, usually 10%, should go into a secure third-party escrow account, never directly to the seller before closing. Your lawyer then does the due diligence, and the final closing happens at the notary's office. And fourth, the costs. Budget for closing costs of around 5-8% of the purchase price. The good news is that annual property taxes, known as pre-deal, are significantly lower than in the U.S., often less than 1% of the property's assessed value. Now, if Mexico is the value play next door, Colombia is the next level value play. The affordability is astounding, and the rental yields can be even higher, especially in cities like Medellin. It has become a global hub for digital nomads and expats, creating a deep and consistent rental pool. But with even higher potential returns comes an even bigger potential headache: the title search. In the U.S., we're protected by title insurance. If a problem with the property's legal history pops up after you buy, you're covered. In Colombia, title insurance is not a standard part of the process. This means the due diligence on the property's title, the estudio de títulos, is everything. I was talking to a seasoned expat in Medellin, and he warned me, never ever skip the most thorough title search you can find. I've seen people lose everything because of a lien or an ownership dispute from 20 years ago that wasn't caught. This is where a top-tier Colombian lawyer isn't just a good idea. They are your entire safety net. So, how do you lock down a deal in Colombia? The starter kit is a bit different. First, get your paperwork in order. While you can technically buy with just a passport, you'll need a Colombian tax ID known as a RUT to register the property and pay taxes. It's also highly recommended to open a local bank account to handle the funds properly and comply with anti-money laundering regulations. Second, hire an expert legal team. I can't say this enough. Your lawyer's primary job is to conduct that exhaustive title search, examining the Certificado de Tradición y Libertad, the Certificate of Tradition and Freedom, to ensure the property is 100% free of any liens, mortgages, or legal claims. Third, the purchase process. The deal is formalized with a promise to buy-sell agreement or promesa de compraventa. The final deed, the escritura pública, is then signed at a notary's office. And here's a crucial final step that many foreigners miss. That signed deed must be registered with the local office of public instruments. If you fail to register it, the sale is not legally valid and you are not the legal owner. And fourth, the costs. Transaction costs in Colombia are relatively low. The buyer is typically responsible for notary and registration fees that add up to about 1.5 to 2% of the property's value. Now, for both Mexico and Colombia, there's a unifying theme: cash is king. Getting a mortgage as a foreigner is extremely difficult in both countries. This creates a market where cash buyers have a significant advantage. It weeds out a lot of the competition, and it can give you serious negotiating power. It's a different dynamic than the leveraged plays we often see in the US market. All right. Investing in Mexico and Colombia is not for the passive investor. It's an active, hands-on strategy that offers the potential for incredible returns in exchange for navigating more complex legal systems and taking on more risk. It's a world away from buying a REIT or even a rental in a familiar U.S. market. This is a strategy for the investor who has done their homework, has their capital ready, and is prepared to build a trusted team on the ground. It's about understanding that your exit strategy needs to be rock solid and that your due diligence has to be flawless. This is the epitome of hyper-local investing, where understanding the specific on-the-ground rules is everything. Now, your challenge today, I have two for you, depending on which market intrigues you more. If you're curious about Mexico, your challenge is to research the Fideicomiso. Find one article from a Mexican law firm explaining the legal side, and one blog post from an American expat sharing their personal experience. Compare the two. If Colombia caught your eye, go to a cost of living website like Numbeo and compare your hometown to Medellin. The difference in rent and daily expenses will highlight the powerful financial arbitrage at play. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Martin Maxwell. Keep learning, stay strategic, and keep building, one smart move at a time.